So when I first came here, the last studio, I'll tell you this story real quick. The last studio was over on Greenbrier, near Greenbrier Mall. And I went there one night and, you know, the neighborhood, the place was all run down. It was horrible. I was like, I'm not buying this place. I went home and couldn't sleep, tossed and turned. And I know that's God, because I usually sleep pretty good. I could snore really good. I get it in. And I went back and I said, I don't need this place. I'll never outgrow it. It's too big. I'll never. And I went back late at night and I'm standing there in front of the gates and I get out of the car and say, okay, God, what are you telling me? And I started praying. And I look at the gates. My hand to God, this happened. I look at the gates and there's paper taped to the gates. I walk up closer to it and there are Bible scriptures taped to the gates. Wow. And my favorite, Psalms 91 is there. Wow. I'm like, okay, God, you speaking to me. I'm just gonna do it. So I called them the next day and said that I want to buy the place. I was like, no, it's not for sale. Some pastor from New Orleans had bought it. This was not long after Katrina. Pastor from New Orleans bought it. He's gonna try. I said, pastor from New Orleans. So I called Bishop Paul Morton, who was my childhood pastor. I said, do you know anything about this? He said, oh, that's God. I was just there yesterday. We don't want the entire place. We just want, there's a building on the other side that we want, and all the property that you want, you can go ahead and buy, and we can work this thing out, and it will really be helpful to the church. Wow. So I bought it. I said I'm never going to outgrow it. Wow. 2 years later, we're all over each other. Not enough room for anything. I called the mayor, say I'm leaving. He said, well, come take a look at this place. I'm not going to say anything. So we came to the Army base, Fort McPherson Army base. We're driving around, and I'm looking at this place, and the first time in my life, I didn't feel overwhelmed because God had given me the steps to get here. Wow. I thank God he didn't take me here first and go, this is where you're going. I went from a little building to a building that was bigger to a building. I had to grow into it. Thank God that he allowed me to grow into it because I don't know what would have happened had it all been just thrown at me. So I came here. It had been abandoned for 7 years. The Army had moved out. It was overrun and a mess, and bought the place. And every day, people don't know this, but when they come in and they're standing on these stages or they're walking around or they're riding or they're moving all through, there's Bibles buried everywhere. Come on now. When you come through the gates, you're riding across the Word. When you leave, you're going across the Word. When you stand in the lobby, you're standing on the Word. When you're on one of those stages, the Word has been planted under the foundation. Wow. Because for me, that's what it's built. That's what it has been built on. You know, the Word and just believing. So having this moment, get a place where thousands of people lived. Many people died, and families in pain and hurt, and Army and you know, who were in the military and armed servicemen. To have this be given to me and to be responsible for it, it's huge, and I'm grateful on so many levels. It's been a burden. But it's been a tremendous blessing, and I don't know anybody who has not had a tremendous blessing that didn't come with some sort of a burden. So wow. I'm trying to do my best to honor it. Wow.